J Squad.
What? You and me will always be tied. Emily every single day and night. Even when you stop acting like a fool.
Hey Johnson family, it's your girl Bree, and I'm here today with a little story time. Today I'm going to be sharing my labor and delivery story with you all, and I have Miss Aubrey here right now. She's woke. Hey Miss Aubrey. They're my facts. Okay, so this story is just so crazy. I had to share it. I know we've been away for a while. Basically, the whole period of my pregnancy, we haven't been uploading. And that's because I had a really rough pregnancy. Like, most of the days I was sick or tired. So we just didn't have the strength to even record as a family. But now that I have Miss Aubrey, we're back and we're better. So, my due date was actually December 20th. And the week of November is when, like, my early labor actually started. I started losing a little bit of my mucus plug that Monday before Thanksgiving. And I think I went to the hospital because I was in a lot of pain. Like, I was having pain on my side. And I went to the doctor and they checked me. I wasn't dilating or anything like that. And they just gave me some pain medication, gave me some heat pads, and sent me home. I started feeling better. So Thanksgiving, I started having contractions. They wasn't really close, but they was painful. So yeah, that happened Thanksgiving that Thursday. So that's when my labor actually started, that Thursday. So after that, that Friday, I need to look at a calendar. Babe, let me see your phone. Okay. Give me his phone, babe. I need to look at a calendar because I need to look at the days so I can be correct. Let me see. Let me double check on my dates really quick. Okay, so November the 22nd is when my labor pain started. And then that was Thanksgiving. So November the 23rd, I started walking. Like, walking my hallway is really, really long. So I started walking my hallway, walking around the house, just doing a lot of moving around. And then me and my husband started timing my contractions because I was getting them back to back. And they started coming more frequently, but they would just die out or they wasn't really strong because I told myself I wasn't going to go to the hospital until it was, like, unbearable. Like, I couldn't take the pain no more because my pain tolerance, like, I could tolerate a lot of pain. So then that Sunday, I decided to go to the hospital. No, actually, I went to the hospital that Friday. That Saturday? Yeah, I went that Saturday. I went to the hospital Saturday, and when I got to the hospital, it was at like 12 o'clock at night. I went to the hospital that Saturday, and they actually told me, oh, you're 4 centimeters dilated. Back up over here. You're 4.5 centimeters dilated. And, excuse this little girl because this is way better. She interrupted my story. Bye, Bria. Because I told, go with your sister. Go to your room. Go to your room. So, when I got to the hospital, I was 4.5 centimeters. And they was going so crazy. They was like, well, looks like you're in labor. We're going to switch you to the labor and delivery room. And they was asking me, like, did you want the epidural and stuff like that? But I was having contractions. They were painful, but they weren't, like, extremely painful. But they were painful. They hurt it. So they were explaining it to me because I was only 36 weeks at that time. And they were explaining to me that I needed to get 2 steroid shots for the baby lungs to develop because that was the last thing. I guess that's the last thing that develops on your baby. Once you pass 35 weeks, I wasn't full term until, you hit 37 weeks, then you're completely full term. So even though it was just a week apart. Actually, I think I was 35 in like some days. Yeah, I was 35 in some days. So they gave me one steroid shot, and then they started me on antibiotics because I didn't even get the B strep, whatever it's called. I didn't get that test done. So just because they just gave me antibiotics, they gave me fluids, and they gave me the steroid shot. So the doctor came in and she was just like, well, you're in labor and we're not going to stop your labor, or we're not going to do anything to like make it, make it progress, make it come. So they was like, they're not going to give me no medication to make the baby come. They're not going to bust my water. They're not going to do nothing. They just going to let my body take its course. Like if the baby do come, then that's fine. But if she don't, then that's even better, because the more days that she in there, the better for her. So they gave me the steroid shot, which you needed to get 2, but you only could take them 24 hours apart from each other. So that means I had to stay in the hospital for 2 days after I got that first shot. And it felt like my contractions was coming back to back, but it felt like once they started giving me like the IV and the steroid shots and everything like that, my contractions just stopped completely. And I wasn't in labor no more. So I feel like they stopped the labor. Even though part of me was like, I don't want my baby to come, too early. But the other part of me was like, I don't want to be in pain. Because I was in pain all the way from that Thursday, and this is Saturday. And I was having contractions, So I wasn't able to even function as a mother at home or doing anything else, So, yeah, after I got the steroid shots, and then my labor stopped, and then they was like, well, you can walk around, but we're not going to let you bounce on the ball. We're not going to give you anything, to make the labor keep going. So basically, the labor just stopped, and I was just in the hospital for 2 days, basically. And I got the other steroid shot, and then that morning they sent me home, which was Monday morning. Then I went home, and when I got home, I'm going to say this whole pregnancy, I wasn't that energized, but I wasn't lazy. Like, I was moving around a lot. I was working every single day, and I work at a daycare, so I work with kids, so I was moving a lot with toddlers. So I wasn't lazy this pregnancy, but once I left that hospital, I was extremely lazy. Like, I didn't want to do nothing at all. Like, I just wanted to lay in the bed and go to sleep. I was so tired. I've never been that tired my whole pregnancy. So, I was really nervous because I was confused. Like, I never knew that they could send you home at 4.5 centimeters. And when I left the hospital, I was 5 centimeters. So, I was so confused that they could send you home like that, But everything was normal. Like, I wasn't feeling no pain, nothing. Like, I was just having contractions, but the contractions will come weird. And the doctor told me, like, only come back to the hospital if your water break or if your contractions come in back to back for 5 minutes, time them back to back, like every 2 to 3 minutes, she said, right? Or 5 minutes, something like that. 3 to 5 minutes, I think, coming back to back like that.
3 to 5.
Yeah, 3 to 5 minutes. And that's the only, but she said once I actually go into labor, it's going to go extremely fast. Like, the whole process was going to take an hour or 2. Like, so that scared me, because I'm like, oh my God, I do not want to have my baby at home. So we lived like maybe 10-15 minutes away from the hospital, and we were all scared, and my brother was here, my husband, and my kids, so we were all scared, like, we don't want to have this baby. The baby, we don't want the baby to come at home if I do. So I was kind of itsy about, if I have my contractions, we just going to go to the hospital, but I didn't want to just go to the hospital. So yeah, we were all scared. And after we downloaded this contraction app, so we would time the contractions. Every time I was having them, my husband was timing them, and for like an hour, they would come back to back, and then they'll just stop. Like, they would come back to back for a straight hour, and I was taking them, and then they'll just stop. So this was going on all the way until I went to the hospital Friday.
Yeah.
I went to the hospital Friday.
Friday night.
Yeah, I went to the hospital Friday night. So, throughout from Monday to Friday, my husband was trying to get me to walk around our neighborhood. And we walked around our neighborhood, but it wasn't working. But we had to take a longer walk. So we actually walked a long way. I'm going to say, I can't estimate how long, but it was we walked a lot. We walked a lot. From where we live, we walked to 2 places. And by the time we did those walks and walking back home, I felt a lot of pressure already. You know, like once we got closer back home, because we walked to 2 places, then we walked back home. So I did a lot of walking. And by the time Friday night came, I started having contractions again. But this time, those contractions were really, really strong. They were really strong. Like, I felt like I couldn't take them, and I started getting scared. And they started coming back to back for like almost 2 hours. So even it was to the point where I couldn't take it no more. And I was just like, baby, I think it's time to go. And we got in the car. We rode to the hospital. And by the time I got to the hospital, they was like, what, you 5 centimeters?
Yep.
Yeah, it was like, you still 5 centimeters. But my contractions was coming back to back. And they was to the point where I was like, I need something. Like, I cannot take it, you know. I was taking it, but I couldn't take it. So they was like, well, since you were just here a few days ago and you still early, we not going to do anything to make the labor, you know, make the baby come. We don't think you're in labor. We think you're just having contractions. And we're just going to keep you here for a few days just to monitor you, just to see if anything changes. Okay, I'm like, whatever. Well, if I'm not in labor, why am I having these contractions like this? You know, because these contractions were worse than any contractions that I felt those last week and a half. So they moved me to the labor and delivery room, and we got to the hospital at like 11, 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
They moved me to the labor and delivery room at like maybe 1 or so. And I was in the labor and delivery room. And once I got to that room, I was just in, like, those contractions were coming. And they wasn't giving me no breathing time. Like, I would have one, and then as soon as it's over, all I had the chance to do was, and then another one was coming. Like, I couldn't even inhale, exhale. It was back to back like that. And they was hurting so bad. And I'm waiting for the doctor to come back in to check me, because they didn't want to keep checking me, because the more that they check me, you know, they can make me open up more or make me go into labor, you know, which they was trying to actually not make me go into labor. So then my mom and my aunt end up showing up, and they end up showing up. They was in the room, but by the time they got to the room, I couldn't talk. Like, I didn't want to say nothing to nobody. I didn't want nobody saying nothing to me. I was just laying in that bed taking them contractions. So they gave me, before they made it to the room, they gave me some pain medication, you know, which only lasted for like an hour. And I was still feeling those contractions with that pain medication. So by the time they came in the room, that pain medication had worn off. And I was telling my nurse, like, can I get the epidural? And the doctors was basically like, we don't want to give you the epidural because we don't think you're in labor. What? I'm telling you, I'm in pain. You know, like, believe me when I'm telling you, I'm in pain. I cannot take this pain. So they didn't want to give me the epidural. So the doctor ended up coming in. The nurse seen the pain in my ass. I was in pain. Like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do nothing. And so the nurse went to get the doctor. The doctor came in, and she checked me, and I was 7 centimeters. Yeah, I was 7 centimeters, and they was like, "Oh, okay, you can get the epidural now. We didn't know you were in labor, you know." So the girl ended up coming in to give me the epidural. Now, before I actually went to the doctor this time, the first time I got admitted into the hospital, I signed all my paperwork. Like, I told them I wanted to get the epidural. You know, I already did this process, so they should still have all of that information, you know, from that, because it's only a few days difference. So the epidural lady came in, and she was like, you know, telling me all the precautions, all the risks, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, just give me the epidural, you know, I really don't care. So she was like, okay, I'm going to get my supplies and I'm coming back. But I think she got scared because she seen me in so much pain and she would have to give me the epidural. She was a young girl. So it took her like maybe 40 minutes to come and give me the epidural. And I was just in there, the pain was getting so worse. So then another guy come in, he running down the hallway to give me the epidural. And he finally came in to give me the epidural. And just imagine being it for women who have kids or just had the epidural before, and you know like how already scary it is because they tell you all the risks with your spine and being paralyzed and stuff like that, bending down. But just imagine getting it when you're having severe contractions. Like, I already had 3 kids before, and I have got the epidural 3 times before, but I got the epidural when I was like maybe 5 centimeters, so my contractions wasn't that bad. As versus 7 centimeters, those contractions were terrible. Like, I couldn't take it. So every time he was just still working on my back, and I still had to sit there as still as I can, no matter if I was having a contraction or not. Because it wasn't giving me no break. Like, even once that contraction ended, I still wasn't getting the break. So, after I got the epidural, I was able to relax. I was finally able to talk to my mom and my aunt that was there, and my husband. And then the doctor came back in, and no, the nurse came in, and she was like, we can't hear the baby heartbeat. So she was using a monitor to check the baby heartbeat. And they told me to lay on my side so that they could, you know, get her heartbeat to rise because it was dropping. So I laid on my side, and now I only had the epidural for like 5-10 minutes. And then they gave me a catheter, so I only had the epidural. I was only able to enjoy it for like literally, I'm not exaggerating, I'm gonna say like maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes. That's how long I had the epidural. Not even 15 minutes. I'm gonna say like 5, 10 minutes. And the doctor came in, and she was like, well, I'm going to put some monitors on. After they gave me the epidural, this is before they said they couldn't hear the baby heartbeat. She came in and bust my water bag because she was like, the water bag. Because I'm like, go get them. I'm feeling fluids coming out, you know. So my husband went and got the nurse, and she was like, it's blood coming out, but I don't think it's your water. So they checked. They was like, it's leaking, but it's not bust yet. So she busted. She was like, that should make the process go faster. So she was like, the baby should be here within an hour. So he was like, okay, you know, I get enough time to relax, breathe, you know, enjoy this epidural. And this is my first time having an epidural with a button that you could press. I never got to press that button. I'm still mad about that. So so I had my epidural for like 10, 15 minutes, and then they said they couldn't hear the baby heart. It was dropping. So they came in, turned me to my side, and they was trying to get the baby heartbeat to come back up. So then the nurse came in, and she was like, the baby, I cannot hear heartbeat at all. So she just moving this monitor all over my belly, and she cannot hear the baby heartbeat at all. And she moving it everywhere. So the doctor came in, and she was like, well, let me check. You know, we're going to put some monitors on the baby head because the monitor that's on your stomach is not picking up her heartbeat. So we are going to put it on her head. So they were turning me over to put the monitor on her head. And when they turned one leg over, I was just like, ooh, I feel a lot of pressure. And they was like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to feel. You know, that means she probably coming down. And I'm like, no, I feel a lot of pressure. I'm like, it feel like, you know, she right there. You know, I'm telling them, like, I feel a lot of pressure. So when the doctor opened up one leg, now I was laying on my side. So when she opened up one leg, she was like, oh my God, the baby head is right here. And there wasn't nobody in the room, like no help. The bed wasn't broken down. And my mom and my aunt, she was like, okay, I need somebody to come and grab these legs, come and hold these legs. And they was like, come on, you got to push now. As she moved me, now I'm trying to turn to my back, but I feel like the baby was coming out, and that's what the baby was doing. She was coming out on her own, and she was like, you got to push. And I'm like, no, I can't push, you know, like, what's going on? And they was like, no, you have to push. This baby is right here. So I'm just trying to get my mind set on pushing. They calling to all the other nurses to come in like, baby, it's a baby coming, it's a baby coming. So everybody else could come inside the room. and I'm just caught, and they like, you gotta push, and I'm like, I can't push, you know. But by the time I turned to my back and she said you gotta push, and I said I can't push, the baby came out. Not one push. She came out all by herself. Now this doctor ain't got, like, she had on gloves, but she didn't have none of her other gear on. The bed wasn't broken down. Like, the baby just came. It happened so Abria. It happened so fast. It happened really, really fast. Really fast. So we got to the hospital like 12 and she was born at 5 that morning. We got there at 12 in the morning and she was born at 5 in the morning. So, yeah, it happened really, really fast. She came out and they put this little bitty baby on top of me. And I'm just like, that baby is so little. She was so tiny. Now, my oldest, when she was born, she was 5 pounds, 7 ounces. So she was the tiniest baby that I had. And she was full-time. And baby Aubrey, when they put her on the scale, she was 5 pounds and 4 ounces. So yeah, I was just basically all fluids. Basically, the doctor said once she burst that water bag, baby was already down. That's why they couldn't hear her heartbeat. She was already ready to come out. The water bag was just stopping her. That's why I say I wasn't nothing but all fluid. Cause I had a pretty nice sized stomach, but I wasn't nothing but all fluid. And when they bust that water, she was already ready to come out. So I still had the epidural inside of me and everything. Like, I was still doped up, feeling good. I didn't feel nothing. She just came out. So yeah, that's my story. And I mean, she came out healthy. She didn't have to go to the NICU. She didn't have any heart problems. She don't have no problems at all. Just a healthy baby. Went home with me 2 days. Stayed in the room with me throughout the whole stay. Everything, she was healthy. I thank God for that. Even though, she came early, but it wasn't that early. But still, your baby should be at least, the longer they stay in, at least past 37 weeks to that 40 weeks, the healthier they'll get, So, but I'm blessed that she came out healthy, beautiful, screaming, lungs good, everything good. So, yeah, that's my labor and delivery story. All the way from Thanksgiving to December 1st, I was in labor. But that's my labor and delivery story. I'm going to be doing more story times. Me and my husband, we're going to be doing more videos. The family, we're going to be uploading more. So don't forget to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to our channel, because 2019, we're back and we're better. Thanks for watching.